Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Hounds. Hit that like, subscribe, comment throughout the show. Got a lot of NFL and MLB to talk about, and me and Brad are here to talk about it. Rob and Evan will be on later. Here we go.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like he forced this game, he stinks!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of the Sports Hounds. Always brought to you by Araya Public Adjusting. Do you have damage to your home or property? We may be able to help. Don't fight your homeowner's insurance alone. Contact Araya Public Adjusting at 813-564-3364. They are licensed in Florida, Pennsylvania, and 13 other states. So make sure you check them out. Don't do this alone. Don't go through the damage of homes or any other property alone. So contact Public Araya Adjusting today. We got Brad Ryer in the house, Jimmy Rodweller. Rob should be on. He just texted. Rob should be on around 8 o'clock, so about 25 minutes. Evan is questionable, so we will see what will happen with that. But we do have a lot to talk about, me and Brad, today. I had the first week of preseason last week, and Brad and I backstage talking about how preseason does not mean a damn thing. So everybody clamoring to the Jalen Hurts perfect QBR. It's good. Everybody has a right to be excited. In my eyes, I need to be able to see that he can do this come October, come November, come September, come December, and hopefully into the playoffs. And that leads us to the poll question of the day. Poll question of the day brought to you by Fan Up. Fan Up is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily MLB contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today using that promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points at a $50 value. That's fanup.app. Make sure you check it out when the NFL comes around as well, because like we said, 4 weeks away, something around that. I think 3.5, I guess. We'll say 3.5 from NFL week 1 kickoff. So, poll question. The Eagles will win the NFC East and a home playoff game. Agree or disagree to the poll? And like I've been saying all summer, like I've been saying all spring, it's going to come down to the quarterback. Howie Roseman did a phenomenal job building this roster, putting exceptional talent around Jalen Hurts, building up this offensive line year in and year out, just signing and drafting studs on the defensive side of the ball when it comes to the defensive line, the linebackers. Kaiser White had a heck of a game. The secondary looks really, really good. They have 2 of the top 15 corners in the league, in my opinion, in James Bradbury and Darius Slay. So the only way that they don't win a home playoff game, in my opinion, and if they win the NFC East, they will get a home playoff game, and I think they will win the NFC East. I think Dallas is going to have a down year. I honestly think they're going to get to 3rd place. Not having so many weapons around Dak Prescott, that's going to hurt him. Having Ezekiel Elliott on another season, that's going to hurt Dak Prescott. This is Dak Prescott's team. He doesn't have Amari Cooper anymore, and Ezekiel Elliott's old. I think they're going to fall. I think it's going to be Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. And I think the Eagles are going to probably win the division 2 games, by 2 games, in my opinion. I think 12-5 is a good number for the Eagles. And then it's going to come down to the home playoff game. It's going to come down to Jalen Hurts. So what are we thinking tonight, Brad?
I disagree. I think they will win the division.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're winning a home playoff game. I just don't. The one thing about the NFC, they've got a lot of really bad teams, but the good teams are good. And I just don't think – I think our division right now is so bad. It's not going to be it's going to be hard to measure up against the teams in the other divisions. That's going to be a problem. I mean, the entire NFC West, well, maybe not Seattle, but the 3 teams in the NFC West, I think, are all as good or better than the Eagles. And then Green Bay, I don't care if they don't have Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers during the season. And I don't think the Eagles can beat the Packers in a big game. I just don't think that's going to happen. As far as the Vikings are concerned, God only knows.
Yeah.
They're such a strange team.
Yeah.
It's really hard to make heads or tails of them, because sometimes they just look fabulous and they've got a lot of talent, but for whatever reason they don't always put it together. But now they've got a different coach.
Yeah, they have an offensive-minded coach now, and I think they lost the most one-score games last year, and it wasn't even close. I think 10 of their games was decided by one score.
Yeah, they had some I mean, the loss against the Lions is basically what put the Eagles in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's just that I think that with a new coach and a new offense, I mean, they've got talent on offense. My God, I mean, between their receivers and Cook, Cousins is not a bad quarterback. He's one of those quarterbacks. If you put a lot of talent around him, he'll be fine. I mean, he's the kind of guy, he can drive the Cadillac, but he can't drive the Volkswagen kind of quarterback. There's a lot of them that are like that. I think the Eagles would have a problem beating any of the playoff teams at home, whether they're home or on the road, because they're very good. As far as Dallas is concerned, I think Dallas is going to be better than you think. I don't think Amari Cooper is that big of a deal. I think probably knowing Dallas, they'll have somebody to replace him.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have Cedric Wilson anymore.
They still have enough to come in second. I do think the Eagles are going to win the division, though.
Yeah,
that I agree with you. I don't think they're going to be 12-5. I think they're going to be 11-6. I think Dallas is going to be 9-8.
Okay,
that's kind of where I think. And Washington will be probably 7-10, and the Giants are going to be horrible. Better times are ahead for the Giants, but it's just not going to happen this year. There's too much. There's too much to clean up, including getting another quarterback for them to be able to take the next step yet.
Yep.
They're still stuck with Galladay and his contract. Daniel Jones, they're giving him another chance, but he'll be sitting down by week 6. And then Tyrod Taylor, who's never done a damn thing ever, is going to end up being the quarterback. And why would Tyrod Taylor? I mean, he might be better than Jones, but why would he take them anywhere that Daniel Jones couldn't?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, Taylor may move the needle a little bit as far as maybe they're more competitive, but I don't think it's going to make them win games. I think they'll just be more competitive. That's all.
Yeah, I think the fact that the Giants are building in the trenches with their first 2 picks that they had this year, they've gone to the trenches over the past few years as well. I think you're coming into for the first time in forever, Saquon Barkley's fully healthy coming into a season. You combine that with some of the skill players that they've signed and drafted with Tony and Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, but Tony's hurt again.
Yeah, Tony's still hurt again.
Yeah,
well, we still got Sterling Shepard and all that stuff. So I think
he's hurt again too.
So nothing's changed.
That's what I'm saying. What's really changed for them?
Yeah.
I mean, they have offensive players. Yeah, they do, but they're always getting hurt. And Shepard just always gets hurt. He's made of glass. Tony, I don't really know if the injuries are just because he's injury prone or he's just been unlucky. He's supposed to be back pretty soon, so we'll see about him. But I just don't think the Giants are ready for any kind of prime time this year. I do think that they're going to start turning things around. They're going to be much more competitive. Yeah. They're going to lose a lot of games, but they'll be competitive in their losses. They're not going to be pushover losses. They'll probably lose a lot of close games because they just don't have enough talent around them.
Yeah.
But getting back to how meaningless preseason is, they beat the Patriots.
Yeah. And preseason does not mean a damn thing.
And they actually had a 2-minute drive with Taylor in there against the Patriots, and they kicked the game-winning field goal with no time on the clock. Now, please tell me that's going to happen on the road, no less, in Gillette Stadium. So,
Yeah.
as I said, just based on that, I think everybody needs to calm down about preseason and how somebody might look in preseason. Remember, a lot of guys that you're facing are, first of all, most of them are just getting themselves in shape, and secondly, there's a lot of guys who may not even be on the field when the season starts. So,
Yeah. Just chiming in, we will be talking some Phillies and around the league and MLB. Tom, yeah, I mean, he literally just threw an 89-mile-per-hour four-seam fastball.
Well, I could have told you that.
I think it slipped out of his hand.
I had him on my. I was trying to be nice when you guys got him because he's on my fantasy team and he hasn't done crap all year.
Yeah, he's on my team too.
And then you know what he's all about. He gives up. He doesn't pitch that many innings. He gives up a lot of hits. He doesn't strike anybody out anymore. He just doesn't seem to give up too many runs.
Yeah,
but I mean, he still gives up too many runs though.
Yeah, he's lost about 4 miles per hour on his fastball, I believe. I mean,
more than that, he was throwing almost 100 before he got hurt.
Well, he's been throwing about 94 to 95 consistently tonight. I think that 89er was just a slip up because it was high in the zone as well. But
maybe it was a changeup.
No, I mean, according to the StatCast, it was a four seam. I don't know if NBC Sports Philly messed that up, but it did look like there was no movement to it whatsoever. It was literally 89 miles per hour.
Oh, geez.
But
okay.
he throws a lot of pitches as he strikes out somebody there with another.
He did throw a lot of pitches when he was with the Mets too. That was something he always used to do.
So here's the thing. He just threw an 89-mile-per-hour fastball right down the middle of the plate, and the guy just looked at it for a strike. I mean, granted, it is the Reds, but that's 89 miles per hour right down the middle of the zone.
Yeah, but the Reds are horrible. His next start, he's going to go up against a very professional baseball team, and he better throw a bit harder than that.
Well, yeah. I mean, we want to talk about
if he throws one like that to Alonso or
it's over.
Those other guys on that team, he's gonna kill him.
It's over. But we will talk Phillies and Mets and NL East and AL East. I know the Yankees are struggling. The wild cards are starting to shape up in both leagues, so we'll talk about that later on in the show once Rob gets on. But just a little precursor. I think the Phillies, just like Tom said last night on Agree to Disagree, I think they had there's a lot of positives to come out from that Mets series that just happened this past weekend. I mean, from the simple fact that Ranger Suarez, who's now your clear-cut number 3 pitcher, there's no question about it.
Yes.
The man is on fire. And for him to go up against Scherzer like that and outduel him and last him 7 innings, that's just unbelievable. To win a 1-0 or 2-1 game in that atmosphere. And then the next night, Aaron Nola, who Philly fans and MLB fans in general, they just – we have heavily criticized.
He pitched a great game, but, he's not – listen, the only reason Jacob deGrom didn't pitch more innings is because he's coming off an injury, and the Mets Buck Showalter doesn't want to push him too hard, but he had 10 strikeouts in 6 innings.
Yeah, but the fact that Aaron Nola was able to compete with him is a positive in my eye, and the fact that the game was 1-0, and Aaron Nola just gives up 1 run, and the amount of runners that the Phillies left on base that entire series, they're going to put it together once Bryce Harper comes back into the middle of this lineup, and we have a set lineup. We'll have a set lineup with I don't know. I really don't know who's going to be the leadoff hitter, but I like the Rhys Hoskins 2, Bryce Harper 3, Kyle Schwarber 4. And I think that's exactly what Rob Thompson's going to do. And then we just go from there with this lineup. So I like it.
The only thing I like, and I compare Schwarber a lot to Stanton because they're both the same kind of hitters. Although I think Stanton is probably a little bit better of more professional of a hitter than Schwarber. And when I say that, I mean batting average wise.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's down to 228, but he was in a slump right before the All-Star break. But he has. When you look at it, you look at his numbers right now. I think it's 27 and 61, and that was at the All-Star break.
Yeah.
So I mean, he had a chance to hit 50 home runs too if he didn't get injured. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big injury. But Schwarber, I don't know about him in the 4 spot. I think that might be putting a lot of pressure on him. I think he's better off. He's better off like number 5 or number 6. It's just that you don't really have the right guy to put in the 4 hole right now. That's the problem. You know, if JT were really hot, you know, and swinging a good bat, I would rather see him in the 4 spot and then put Schwarber back to the 5 spot.
Yeah, because then you would have the righty-lefty with Hopkins, Harper.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's kind of because when you bring in because when the other team goes to the bullpen, you can't really match up.
Yeah.
You know, because righty-lefty, you go righty. It's an impossible situation if you could somehow do that, because then you go righty-lefty, righty-lefty.
Yeah, and if Bryson Stott continues to hit singles in the leadoff spot, I think he very well may find himself in the leadoff hole, because I think he's raised his average about, I don't know, maybe
what's he batting now?
He's at 224 right now.
Well, that's a lot, because he was way down when he first started.
Just 10 days ago, when I was doing the show on the boardwalk with John, he was batting 194. That was 10 days ago.
No, that's what I'm saying. I know he's been hitting the ball. He's been doing a good job. Listen, I think the Phillies are going to make the playoffs, but
yeah, they better.
The problem is they're just not as good as some of the other teams in the league.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a tough league.
Well, I was looking at the World Series, the World Series odds, and they're tied for 8th. That means that Vegas has them as the 8th best baseball team in the league.
Or 9th.
8th or 9th.
8th or 9th, yeah. So, well,
yeah.
that's
they're tied with the Cardinals.
That's probably about right.
Yeah, and it's a shame because you got two teams in your division above you.
Yeah, but those are really premier elite teams.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's a big jump to go from where they were last year to be competitive against those teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Mets, compared to last year, the Mets are light years ahead of last year, and they spent a lot of money to get all these guys in here. That's a completely different team from last year.
Yeah. And you just look at those top 2 guys, and then you even throw in Bassett and Carrasco after those top 2 guys, and then you have the solid bullpen that they have.
Yeah, and their number 5 pitcher is no slouch either.
Yeah,
he's no Taiwan Walker is no day at the beach either.
Yeah,
I mean their bullpen's a lot better. They got rid of 2 guys who last year were killing them every game, and that was Familia and Hand. Now Hands landed in Philadelphia, and they seem to have found a role for him.
He's been pitching really well here. He's been that backup setup guy. So whenever somebody needs a break, he's been that setup man for us, the 7th, 8th inning guy.
You just think I think if Hand would have stuck around, if they could have kept Hand, I think Buck would have found a way to get his team back.
Yeah.
Now back to football, because we kind of got off of that. But that I feel like at this point with the Eagles, they're going to have to prove to me that they can compete with teams like San Francisco and the Rams and the Packers. You know, I mean, they're at this point. I don't know that they're capable of doing that right now, and Tampa Bay and that's. I just don't think they can. I just don't think that they can beat those teams right now. I don't think they're good enough to be able to do that.
Yeah, I disagree. I think that if our quarterback steps up and he goes past his first read and he stays in the pocket, we are going to be as good as the next team in the NFC.
Who do you think if they have to play San Francisco? I think they're going to have a big problem because San Francisco's defense will shut down even the best of teams.
And I think our defense is comparable to the 49ers defense right now on paper. Our defensive line. Our defensive line is going to be 18.
One thing to look at on paper, okay, but you have to see them on the field.
Are the 49ers going to be on the field, though? Because they are a mess when it comes to injuries year in and year out. And do we really trust Trey Lance coming across the coast in a away playoff game?
They haven't traded
He's
They
going to be
haven't
the
traded
starter.
Jimmy Garoppolo yet.
Lance is going to be the starter because I think Garoppolo is probably going to end up in Cleveland because I think Deshaun Watson suspension is going to go up to 8 games, possibly even 12.
Yeah, but even if Deshaun Watson, Brissett's going to be their quarterback, is he not?
Brissett will be the quarterback, but if the Browns want to win this year, I think they will take a flyer on Jimmy Garoppolo. So Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be picked up.
No, if he's quarterback, I don't. Yeah, listen, is he great? No, but he's still good enough. He's good enough. That the thing with Garoppolo is he doesn't turn the ball over, and that's something that wins in the playoffs. And the 49ers are just a very physical, tough team. Look what they did to Aaron Rodgers, how they stuffed him last year. I mean, they stuffed a lot of teams. They gave the Rams all they could handle in that championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, they almost beat the Rams. And look, I don't think the Eagles are as good as Tampa Bay.
Well,
In no way, shape, or form were they even competitive when they played Tampa Bay last year in that playoff game.
That's because we shouldn't have been in the playoffs. It was a fluke playoff spot. I've been on the record saying that. But this year, I do think the Buccaneers are better than the Eagles, and I think the Rams are better than the Eagles. Now,
so you think the Eagles are the third best team in the league right now? You think they're better than Green Bay?
So I look at Green Bay, and I need to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers. Who's he throwing the ball to? Is their defense going to be as good as they were last year?
Well, it always seems with Green Bay that somebody always seems to
emerge. Yeah, like is Allen Lazard going to have 1,200 receiving yards this year? Are we going to bank on that? The fact that Green Bay is even with Devontae Adams. All these years, even over the past 3 years, the Eagles have gone to Lambeau Field and have beat Aaron Rodgers. And that the only person the only position on that football team that's better than any of the Eagles roster or positions is quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is better than Jalen Hurts. When you look at every other position on the football team, I'm giving that to the Eagles. They have better corners, better safeties. They are 8 deep on that defensive line. They have phenomenal linebackers now. I love Kaiser White. I love TJ Edwards in the run stopping defense. Nakobe Dean may not be activated, and he might not be activated until October. And then the wide receiving core, it's hands down better than the Packers wide receiving core. And then you look at the offensive line. This Eagles team is going to be good, and it's going to come down to Jalen Hurts.
I don't know. I don't see Jalen Hurts ever beating an elite team. I just don't.
Well, yeah, because the Buccaneers
right now, all he's proven is that he's a bully quarterback. And when I say a bully quarterback, in other words, against a really bad defense, he can load it up and he can put 40, 50 points on you because he can run and he has wide open receivers. And that he'll do. But against a good defense that keeps him in the pocket, makes him stay in the pocket, we'll see how good he is.
Yeah.
There are a lot of quarterbacks who come into the league who can run, but then when you lock them up in the pocket, they just can't really play up to their abilities. I mean, it's happened over and over again. The most recent examples are RG3, Kaepernick. I mean, once they realized all they had to do with Kaepernick is just don't let him run and make him stand in the pocket. He had no accuracy.
Tim Tebow after the Pittsburgh Steelers miracle.
Right. I mean, but Tim Tebow, unless he was running to his left, had no accuracy whatsoever.
Yeah, and then
as soon as they figured that out, I mean, really the only running quarterback that I can remember of late that could really put the ball on the money was Vic.
Mm-hmm.
He had just such a strong arm.
He had a laser of an arm.
Yeah, he could put the ball on his money when he's running to his right, even though he was left-handed. So I mean that's the one guy. We'll see. I don't like Hurts right now. I don't think that he's the right quarterback to make that team a championship team.
Yeah, it's and I'm gonna go on the record. It's until I see it, that's when I'm gonna have faith in him. And he has all the intangibles to be a star NFL quarterback. But you need more than intangibles. You need to be able to prove that you can go against a defense that's gonna stack the box against you in a playoff game. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers laid it out perfectly on how to stop Jalen Hurts last year.
Yeah, they made him run to his left. and they made him stay in the pocket, and he couldn't hit an open receiver until it was 30-0.
Yep.
And then they went soft. But other than that, I mean, that's the problem with him.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, I don't know how you can get a guy who doesn't have a strong arm to suddenly have a strong arm. That I don't know how you do that. That's hard to do. It's like teaching height. If you're not born with that, I don't know how you strengthen your arm.
Yeah. So I see a lot of people in the chat say a lot of people saying that they do believe that the Eagles will win the division, but people are iffy about the playoff aspect of it. So I'm predicting that they're probably going to finish third in the NFC. I think they are going to have the same exact record as the Packers, but I think they're going to beat the Packers. So I think that's going to give them the tiebreaker. They're going to beat the Packers in the regular season. So that's going to lead. Yeah, they play at home at Philadelphia in I think the first week in December.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, so that'll be a fun game.
That'll be a fun game.
Yeah. So I think they will go 12-5 along with the Packers. They will also go 12-5. But I think the Eagles will get third place. So the first and second place teams in the NFC, they'll be the Rams and the Buccaneers. So they'll get the byes. So that means that the Eagles will either play teams like the Cowboys or the Commanders or the Vikings or the 49ers or the Cardinals possibly. So all those teams will probably be who the Eagles play in the first round at home. I think they could beat the Cardinals. I think they could beat the 49ers. I think they could beat the Cowboys. I think they could beat all
Cowboys.
Of them.
I do think that they're better than the Cowboys. The problem with them last year was their defense couldn't stop anybody. Anybody with a good team that could throw the ball.
Yeah.
That was the big problem. Once I see it, then I can be a lot more thorough about it. But last year, their pass defense was terrible, and that's going to have to change. They had the pass rush, and they could stop the run, but they could not stop a pass at all. And that was a problem.
But before we get on to this, let me just read off a sponsor for all these comments. EXP Realty, always a good friend of the show. Are you looking to buy or sell a home, looking for a change in career or brokerage? Contact Alan Foy of EXP Realty, LLC at 302-682-8820 or visit him at alan.foy@exprealty.com. Also, wherever you're watching us right now, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you are. Show some love to the platform, share us around, and be a friend of the show, as Tom Arnone always says. Also, Gleason's Bar. Gleason's Bar is located at 6700 Mill Creek Avenue in Levittown, PA. Use the promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, takeout, or order online. That's Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com. Nothing better than eating a cheesesteak and watching the NFL. I will always hold true to that. And then All Campus, we're live at All Campus in Ocean City, New Jersey. It usually stays beautiful in Ocean City all the way up until probably the middle of October, I would say. And then it starts to maybe get a little chilly. But we are live every Wednesday night, 6:30, All Campus. And if you are a subscriber to the show, we will give you 20% off anything and everything in our store, including hats and shirts. So make sure you check out All Campus, 10th Street in Ocean City, New Jersey. All right, so I named off the potential playoff teams if the Eagles do win the division and they have a home playoff game. You say they could beat the Cowboys. Let's possibly go to the Vikings. Do you think if the Vikings roll into Lincoln Financial Field, what do you think the chances are that the Eagles beat the Vikings?
Those are two pretty even teams.
Yeah,
they are. I would have to give the Eagles the home field advantage. Absolutely. I mean, I think the Eagles can win that game. Yes.
Okay.
I think if they had to go to Minnesota, my answer would be no. Yeah. Minnesota is one of those teams that play great at home, a little shaky on the road.
Yeah, and we all remember the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, the thing with Minnesota though, they're such a weird team. They really are.
Kirk Cousins in primetime is usually just not primetime unless he's playing the Eagles. So that or the Saints. Yeah. So that might be a little.
I'll tell you what, that one game against the Saints, I don't think when I was watching that game and I saw some of those passes he was making, I had to like rub my eyes. I'm like, wait a minute, what the heck?
It was like Nick Foles in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I was like, what, did he take some downers before the game to just calm his nerves? Because he's like, he's looking like regular season Kirk Cousins. The thing with Cousins is if he doesn't have to throw on every down, then he's fine. When you put him in a spot where he has to throw all the time, he can't get it done.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't have to throw every time. He's got Dalvin Cook. He's one of the best running backs in the league.
Yeah, but when he
they've got their receivers are every bit as good as the Eagles receivers.
They're better. They're better, and I think
Jefferson,
I'll go out on a limb and say they're way better.
Jefferson and Thielen are freaking good.
And then they have Osborne as well, who's a solid guy that takes the top off the defense. So they're good.
They're good,
but they have Kirk Cousins.
But you got to see them on the field because they're a bizarre team.
They will lose a one possession game. If you bet anything in the NFL, bet that the Vikings will lose a one possession game.
That's. I mean, they bet that they're gonna find a way to lose to bad teams.
Oh yeah. Yep. All right, so we got Cowboys and so when it comes to the Cowboys in a playoff game, I would bet a lot of money that the Eagles win a home playoff game against the Cowboys this year, if that's what it comes down to. I just think for the first time in a few seasons, they have a roster that is not significantly better than the Cowboys, but it's clearly better than the Cowboys. When you want to talk about offensive line, how old the Cowboys offensive line is getting and how they're not able to bring up the replacement that the Eagles have been able to bring up, because the Eagles and the Cowboys have always had phenomenal offensive lines, neck and neck year in and year out. The difference is the Eagles were able to replace all those guys that left. I don't think the Cowboys were able to replace guys like Travis Frederick or I don't know what Tyron Smith's doing. He's hurt most of the time. Zach Martin's still there, but you want to look at the right tackle position. What's the guy's name that got canned for PEDs? I think is it Lyle Collins?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I think it's Lyle Collins.
Look, the Cowboys don't have the great offensive line they used to have. I mean, they don't. They've had to make some changes, but they're still pretty good. They're still pretty good. I wouldn't worry about the receivers. They still have enough in wide receivers to be tough and to be tough to stop. What we have to see from the Eagles is they've signed a lot of guys. They brought in a lot of guys, and we've seen this before with the Eagles. We saw this the one year when they had when they called themselves the Dream Team, when they brought in a bunch of guys, and they ended up 8-8.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to see how it works on paper. Right now, they're the best team in the division by a mile.
I think they just have they have a good mixture of seasoned veterans that have been in playoff situation games, and they have that combination with the young guys that they either A, drafted or B, brought in. And I think that is a recipe for success. And
I think that they are clearly right now the best team in the division. If they stay healthy, there's no reason why they can't win that division. I do think it might be a stretch to ask them to win to win a home playoff game or any kind of a playoff game yet. I've got to see that first.
Yeah, we got to be able to see that Jalen Hurts progresses this season. And all right, so we got Cowboys, yes. Vikings, yes. Let's go with Commanders. I think the Commanders are going to be a sneaky team. I mean, you want to talk about a team that has a solid roster that has been drafting well. They've signed all the right free agents.
I don't like their quarterback.
Well, let's
at all. I mean, this is the quarterback who had a really good team in front of him last year, and couldn't beat the Jacksonville Jaguars not once but twice to get them in the playoffs.
That's what everybody's going to remember. It was inexcusable. It's inexcusable.
You see, I could understand the second game that they lost, okay, because maybe sometimes things happen, in a game.
They can't
But
lose
to
to
lose
them
to them
twice.
twice,
Yeah. No,
twice.
it's bad. It's bad. But you look around, the receivers weren't all that good. The offensive line was beat up. I mean, we give all the excuses in the world for all these quarterbacks, like a Carson Wentz, like a Daniel Jones, like all these guys.
He had the best running back in the NFL last year.
They did, and he's a
I
stud.
mean, what do you want out of life?
He was a stud. He was. They were 9-8 last year, and they lost 2 games to the to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They also beat pretty good teams last year in the regular season when they needed to. Now, when you look at the Commanders, they were 7-10 last year, and they were starting guys like Taylor Heineke and Garrett Gilbert, and they were 7-10. Now, Carson Wentz, love him or hate him, that he is significantly better than Taylor Heineke and Garrett Gilbert. And putting Carson Wentz in,
I'm thinking Gilbert, but I'm not sure he's that much better than Heineke.
yeah.
I'm not so sure about that. I don't. Wentz is not good.
No, he hasn't been. I mean, he was good last year, except against the Jaguars. Now you put him with Terry McLaurin, and they drafted the kid from Penn State in the first round as well. They have Antonio Gibson, they have McKissick, and they have that defensive line that is borderline unstoppable. I mean, you got 4 first-round draft picks on that defensive line.
As long as they stay healthy, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they will be in wild card contention. So if Carson Wentz has to come into Lincoln Financial Field in January for a playoff game, is Carson Wentz going to beat the Eagles?
No.
I don't think either. I don't think he will.
Although it would be priceless to see him do it as a Giant fan, it would be priceless to see that happen. Just to see you guys be miserable. That would be pretty funny. I don't think that's gonna. I don't think that's gonna happen.
The city will catch on fire because Carson Wentz would beat Jalen Hurts in a playoff game.
Listen, Carson Wentz. All I can say about Carson Wentz is, the Giants beat him twice in a row. No, they didn't beat him twice in a row. Yeah, they beat.
No, they
won. No, it's the first game they beat Carson Wentz, and then they beat Hurts the second time.
No, Boston's. Don't you remember the first game in 2020? You guys were up all game, and then all of a sudden Carson Wentz just went wild in the fourth quarter, and he threw that game-winning touchdown to Boston Scott.
Yeah, and then they had the 63-yard field goal the next season.
Yeah, but then in 2020.
Well, in 2020 in the second game,
that's when Carson lost.
Yeah, the Giants beat him pretty good that game.
That was the beginning of the end of Carson and Philly.
Yeah, and then the first game last season, when the Giants still had Jones and they still had most of their team healthy, they won that game. And it just seemed like after they won that game, Jones got hurt, and then the whole team fell apart. And I think it was more or less not necessarily losing Jones, but the replacement quarterback that they had was that bad.
Yeah,
I mean that was some of the worst quarterbacking I've ever seen.
Yeah, we got Carson apologists in the chat right now. Pretty funny, John and Nate. But
Carson would collapse in a Philly playoff game. I agree 100%. He would.
Yeah, I mean, he collapsed against the Jacksonville Jaguars not once but twice last year. So
yeah, I mean,
I don't know if he had the mental
fortitude. And he had Jonathan Taylor in his offensive backfield as a running back.
Yeah, Brad, I hear you, but
Taylor was unbelievable last year.
You can't win in this league with running. I mean, just look at Derrick Henry and the Titans. All those playoff games that they won, but at the end of the day, they never got over the hump because you can't win in the NFL as a run-first football team. So you can have Jonathan Taylor all you want.
I don't believe that for a minute. I think that you can, depending on how good your defense is.
And the Colts defense wasn't that good last year.
It was pretty good.
On paper, like we're talking about on paper, on paper they were good, but when it came to playing football games, they weren't all that. Their secondary was atrocious.
Listen. When they played when they played, who was it that really beat them up pretty bad? The Bills beat them up pretty bad. I
Yeah.
think the Ravens beat them up pretty bad too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think they started off 0-4 possibly.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
They had a very unfavorable schedule. The Seahawks beat them, and then they came back to life in the middle of the season, and then all they needed to do was win one game against the Jaguars, and Carson folded.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which is what I think is going to happen pretty much against all the NFC teams. I think he's going to have trouble with the Giants too. Carson.
Probably.
I just
look at that roster and how they won 7 games last year with just no-name quarterbacks, and you actually bring in a guy that was a pretty significant piece to a Super Bowl run. He was an MVP candidate.
He was. Listen, when they won the Super Bowl, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, Carson was great. Then he got hurt, and for whatever reason, he's never been the same. He was never the same, and it just got worse and worse. And by the way, Aaron Hicks made one of the most incredibly spastic, uncoordinated plays in center field that I've ever seen from a Major League Baseball player. If you get a chance to Google the triple that was hit by Tampa, because Tampa now leads 1-0. The ball was over his head. He turns the wrong way. Then he actually catches up to the ball, and then reached out and missed it. And they showed Gary Cole's face, and he's just shaking his head like.
He's shaking his head without shaking his head.
He was shaking his head.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And that they're really, that somebody in the broadcast booth is really mad at him because they keep showing pictures of Hicks in center field.
Yeah.
Like every chance they get when there's a break, they keep showing him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that
just to rub some salt in the wound, right?
Yeah, just to show him how bad he is.
Yeah.
That's another reason why Boone needs to get fired, by the way. Just the fact that he lets the guy's 5 for his last 50, and he continues to play. He continues to play.
I mean, you guys traded for a premier center fielder in Andrew Benintendi, and you're not playing him in center field.
No, you're playing him. They're playing him in left.
How long is Stanton out for? Is Stanton still out?
Stanton started with full baseball activities today, and he's going to be going on I think they said he's going to go on a rehab assignment Thursday if he doesn't re-injure himself.
Yeah. Now can he play
left
field? Like can he be an everyday left fielder?
I don't think they're going to put him back in the outfield again. I think he's going to be the DH, but I mean, they do have Bader when he comes off the injured list. We won't have to see Hicks again. But honestly, I'd rather see them call up Florial.
Yeah.
Even though he's not a big hitter, Hicks can't hit either. So what's the difference? I mean, Hicks just he's a clown. He looked like a clown. He looked like Odubel out there. That's how bad he looked in that play. I mean, I've never seen a baseball player look so spastic.
Hey, Odubel's still on the market, I think, because the Phillies would have played by Edmundo Sosa. But the Phillies let him go after designated him because nobody picked him up. So maybe the Yankees can take a flyer on Odubel.
No, they're not gonna pay him. They're not gonna sign it.
Hey, you think it's bad there?
Yeah, I was gonna say at least Hicks can throw. Boy, oh boy, that was a ridiculously bad play. So anyway, getting back again to the Eagles situation, there are some teams I just don't see them beating in the playoffs.
Yeah, so I'm gonna continue to bring up the list. So you think we're beating the Commanders, Cowboys,
yes.
and the Vikings, and Brickman's in the back. So what's up, Rob?
Hey, Rob.
All right, I made it.
We are just talking about Eagles, and we're talking about possible first round playoff oppositions.
So, all right. So I think the Niners are, all due respect to the Rams, and they're the champs, and I get it. But I think Kyle Shanahan's got a serious ace up his sleeve with Trey Lance. I think they're going to win the West. So that puts the Rams in the wild card mix. You were talking about the Vikings at the top of the show. I was listening in my car. You guys nailed it with the Vikings, but I do think that they're going to score a lot of points. Mike Zimmer's out. Kevin O'Connell is going to be the coach. He's a McVay disciple. They have a lot of offensive weapons up there. right now I have them penciled in to win the North.
Huh.
I think Green Bay is going to get in, obviously. But that puts them in the wild card mix. So you got the Rams and the Packers in the wild card mix, and then you have a team with like a 8-9, 9-8 record is going to probably be that 7 seed. I'm pretty bullish on the line.
It would be the Saints, which I think they could beat.
Yeah, I don't know about Winston off the ACL with Dennis Allen as the coach as opposed to Sean Payton. I don't know what's going like Kamara. I don't know what's going on. Michael Thomas, they say, looks, he hasn't played. I can't go there with the Saints yet. So you got Cowboys, Cardinals, and a team that I like, my sleeper team in the NFC is the Lions, which we play week 1. I think the Lions got a lot of dynamic players on offense. Defense is a work in progress, but I think 8 wins, 9 wins is going to be enough to get that 7 seed in the NFC. So possible opponents, it's going to be Green Bay or the Rams, which is going to be really hard. I think Jalen Hurts is going to play good enough to get them to the playoffs. I think the Eagles, by far the most talented team in this division. I hope they can get the 3 seed.
Well, that would make a big difference. That would make a big difference.
I think they are getting the 3 seed. And if they get the 3 seed, that means that the first 2 teams will get a bye, correct?
No, only one team gets a bye.
So one team gets a bye. So that means probably the
you got to think it's going to be Tampa. Look, you talked about the East at the top of the show being a dog shit division, but to me, the South is putrid.
So where
Tampa's going to get 13, 14 wins just because they play in that division. The
Well,
Saints are okay, but Atlanta and Carolina, I have no aspirations for at all.
So who do you think's getting the second spot?
The Niners.
So you think the Niners are going to be that good?
Right. I think the Niners
I don't have faith in Trey Lance. I think the Rams.
But I mean, everybody, all Jimmy Garoppolo does is play deep into January every year. Every year, all he does is win playoff games and get the NFC Championship game. So if Trey Lance doesn't work out, it's got to be Jimmy G.
Jimmy G's not going to play another game in a 49ers uniform.
I mean, what's he going to get traded?
I think he's going to get traded to the Browns. I think the Browns want a realistic shot, and they know that they can't do it with Jacoby Brissett. So until Deshaun Watson comes back from whatever his suspension is going to be,
I think that ship has sailed, Jimmy. I mean, you're going to get Jimmy G in. I mean, I get he's a veteran, but you're going to get a QB1 in there on August 15th and have him be acclimated to your offense in time to.
All he needs to do is do what he's done his whole career and hand the ball off and go into a play action.
Yeah, but I think a lot of Jimmy G is what he is, and I think Kyle Shanahan had a big part in scheming around Jimmy Garoppolo to get the Niners into NFC Championship game after NFC Championship game. I don't think Jimmy G's going anywhere. I was talking about with my dad. I think the Saints make a lot of sense for Jimmy G, but again, I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think you can bring in a QB1 this late and get him acclimated in time to be a difference maker in the NFL. And Kyle Shanahan knows what he's doing out there. So if he thinks Trey Lance is that much better than Jimmy G, unproven, then I feel obligated to trust Kyle Shanahan on that. Plus, they have a loaded roster. They have a great line. They have a great offensive line. They have a great run game. Debo and Ayuk are pretty good. Kittle is out there too.
That's the business as far as tight ends go when he's healthy.
He's extremely good. There's a couple guys in that mix. Kelsey, Andrews. There's a couple guys in that, but Kittle's right up there.
I think you're going to see Kelsey take a big dive this year.
Yeah, the AFC is just – I tried to write it down on my little pad here who I think is going to make the playoffs in the AFC, and we tried to do it a couple weeks ago, and I still can't do it. There's so many good teams out there.
Tell you what, I think I've been really thinking about it. I think the Raiders are going to win the West this year.
I mean, the Raiders were a playoff team last year, and they had Chandler Jones and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, now they have Devontae Adams for crying out loud.
And
I think Denver's going to win that division. I think Wilson's going to win.
They're good too. I'm warming up to them as well.
They're good too.
They clearly have the best defense, and I think Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy are going to have insane years
the Chiefs. The Chiefs have the best head coach in the division and the best quarterback in the division. So, is that going to be enough to cover up the deficiencies I think they have on the other sides of the around the other sides of the ball? I don't know.
They lost Hill. That's a huge loss.
I still can't believe they traded Tyreek Hill like that.
Yeah.
The way the NFL's going, just
They
trade
couldn't pay
Tyreek
him.
Hill like that. You got a bunch of picks. Cool.
They couldn't pay him because of how much they paid Mahomes.
You find a way. That guy's special. That guy's the biggest game breaker in the whole league. I went to the game, I think it was last year. It was Eagles-Chiefs, and the Eagles had no answers. He had 13 catches, 189 yards, and I think 3 touchdowns.
Neither did the Buffalo Bills. And now the Buffalo Bills, I don't think they're worried about Kansas City anymore. I think
they're always looming. But I think it's going to come January, and I think the Eagles are going to be playing either the Packers or the Rams in a home playoff game. And they'll probably be – I don't know if they'll be dogs. I don't know what – there's a long time to determine that. But
see,
I guess we're getting to the poll. Yes, they're going to win the division, but can they beat the Rams or the Packers at home in the playoffs? I don't know because I don't believe in the quarterback.
See, I don't think that the Rams are going to lose the West. So that's my only rebuttal to your answer.
Let's say the Rams win the West. So are the Niners? Niners are coming east? Are you going to beat the Niners in a home playoff game?
Trey Lance is not coming to Lincoln Financial Field and beating Jalen Hurts in a home playoff.
I've seen worse quarterbacks come into the Vet and Lincoln Financial Field and win games over my lifetime.
And are the 49ers going to stay healthy? Because if we want to match up,
anybody going to stay healthy? Are the Eagles going to stay healthy? We can play that. We can play that game all day.
But we were fairly healthy last year as a football team. The 49ers haven't been healthy.
You know how that works.
That first
the injury bug strikes and it's contagious. And look at the Ravens last year.
Well, yeah, but I'm looking at this Eagles roster, and their offensive line is 8 deep. Their defensive line is 8 deep. Their linebacking core is the best I've seen in my entire life. The secondary, they have 2 of the top 15 cornerbacks in the league. Their safeties are pretty damn good, and they have a better wide receiving core than the 49ers.
If you look at the rosters.
Whoa, no. I'm not going to give you that.
AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are better than Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk.
No. And you got to throw – it's amazing how you don't include Kittle in that mix. Kittle's better.
We have Goddard. It's certainly a conversation.
Well, I know Kittle is better than Goddard. I'm talking about wide receiving
better than anybody on the Eagles.
You just said, is he going to stay healthy? This 49ers team doesn't stay healthy. George Kittle plays 8 games a year.
How do you know the Eagles are going to stay healthy?
Because we stayed healthy last year.
The Niners are never healthy.
The Niners never stay healthy, and they have one of the toughest divisions in football. We have one of the easiest divisions in football.
That's true.
The Niners are 10-7 in my eyes.
Yeah, but I still think.
I don't know, man. I guess I like Trey. Maybe I like Trey Lance more than.
What has Trey Lance done besides play at North Dakota State?
Exactly. He doesn't. We don't know. He's got a lot of talent. He can do things athletically that Jimmy G can't. There's Don checking in. The Rams versus Bills in the Super Bowl. That would be a lot of fun. That's actually the kickoff game. Thursday night kickoff game is Buffalo and Los Angeles. So
where's that game at? L.A.
It's in L.A. So it's ring night. It's banner night in L.A.
Okay.
But look at the Eagles. Cover up the quarterback, and cover up the quarterback for everyone else in the league. Don't count. It's a separate conversation. Look at the roster outside of quarterback. The Eagles are right there with anybody. I think
we have one of the best rosters in football outside the quarterback. And I'm going to stand on this rock until they prove me wrong, until they prove me otherwise. I have not seen a wide receiving core like this in my life. I've not
even
seen
when
an
they had
offensive line
T.O. in 04, you still had it weighed down by Pinkston and just total sweatbags like that.
Yeah,
so top to bottom, Zach Pascal's going to be catching passes this year. That's better than any fourth receiver that we had last year. Quez Watkins, he can stretch the field and do things for you. I don't know if Jalen Reagor is going to make the team, but who cares? I mean, he's a former first-round pick. Maybe he can be fast and someone can light a fire up under his ass, and maybe he can do something. But, if you look at the Eagles roster outside of Jalen Hurts and you cover up Aaron Rodgers and Brady and all those other quarterbacks that are way better than Jalen Hurts and just look at the rosters outside of quarterback, the Eagles are right there with anyone, especially in the NFC. So I think the Eagles are going to, right now on August 15th to the poll, definitely going to win the East. And I can't commit to a playoff game. I can't do it yet.
Yeah,
I think you're going to be playing a really, really good football team that doesn't win a division in Green Bay or the Rams.
Yeah, I just don't trust the Vikings because I don't trust Kirk Cousins. So I think the Packers will come up on top in the NFC North.
I think
go ahead.
I think the Packers, I'm looking at them and I'm like, all right, maybe it's going to take them like a month and a half to figure it out. And people are going to be panicking about the Packers, much like myself and a lot of people did with the Chiefs last year. But I think they get in. There's Molly Mall. You're not running away with this division.
Yeah,
I mean, define running away. I think they win by 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, I just don't. I've never been a big fan of Dak Prescott.
3 games is running away with it.
Yeah, I don't. I've never been a big fan of Dak Prescott, and the fact that you lose Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup still is hurt, Cedric Wilson is gone. Like he literally only has CD Lamb right now, and he's never had a as depleted offensive core as he does this season. And there's another year on Ezekiel Elliott. I think Dak is going to struggle this year.
I mean, I really like Pollard for you fantasy guys out there. I think Pollard might be the better value of back to own there. They have a pretty good tight end in Dalton Schultz, and they have those ball hawks on defense with Parsons and Diggs. I know Diggs gets burnt sometimes, but he makes plays and scores touchdowns. So, I think the Eagles are better, but I could easily see Dallas going back to the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
Commanders and the Giants. I don't really see much out of the Commanders. And definitely not the Giants. I think the Giants get a quarterback, Brad, and then we can be awful.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. They're going to get one after this year, Rob.
I saw somebody
waste another draft choice on first round pick on a quarterback because Gettleman had to use one on Jones.
Somebody in the chat said that the Giants are going to go after Jimmy G.
Why?
I mean, they're paying Kirk Cousins like $38 million this year. So, no, I don't. The money dictates that they're not going to go after Jimmy G. Matthew Walsh checking us out on YouTube. I think Cousins is what is holding the Vikings back. I mean, okay. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. Is Kirk Cousins a great quarterback? No. Kirk Cousins is better than Jimmy G.
I agree.
He's a better pure talent than Jimmy G. And honestly, Matt, I think that what was holding the Vikings back was a stinky coaching staff headed by Mike Zimmer. And he's gone. So you're going to have a head coach there, and Kevin O'Connell, that's going to be able to maximize Jefferson, KJ Osborne, Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Madison. I like their tight end, Irv Smith. He got thumb surgery, though, so I don't know when he's going to be back. And then Nate on YouTube, Lions will be better. They have no O-line. I mean, they just drafted Penei Sewell, so that's a good start. And obviously they get Hutchinson at the top of the draft last year.
Don's dying on the hill that the Lions have top 5 offensive line right now. So I haven't really studied the Lions, what they've done with their offensive line, but Don is a clear diehard Detroit Lion fan, and he's been real with us for years now. So if he's telling me that the Lions offensive line is pretty good, like top 5 wise, then I'll trust that. And if that's the case, who knows? I don't think their defense is there yet, though.
Their defense is not good, but you can get to the playoffs. You can grab that 7th seed in the NFC, scoring a bunch of points. I think another X factor in the NFC is Kyler Murray going to be an adult and mature and be the talent that we all think he can be? I don't know. I don't trust Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I think they missed the playoffs.
They paid him, though. And I love how they're like, we put a study clause, and they're like, everyone freaked out about it. We're just kidding. He doesn't have to study.
Yeah, I don't know.
Look at Vic.
I don't know.
Vic didn't study a lick until he got to the Eagles with Andy Reid, and then he almost won MVP and led the Eagles to a championship.
Yeah.
But the Lions, Goff is Goff, but you have Swift, you have Hawkinson, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They signed DJ Chark. Jameson Williams, I would imagine mid-season for him, but he was the best receiver in the SEC last year, which holds weight in my eyes.
So
defense, we'll see.
Rob, but before we just transition to some just around the NFL, just getting back to the poll, I'm just going to give you my teams that I think I think the Eagles are winning the division. I think they're going to come in third overall in the NFC. I think it's going to be Bucks, Rams, Eagles, Packers as division winners. And then I got the Vikings as the 5th seed, Cowboys as the 6th seed, and 49ers as the 7th seed. So that would mean that the Eagles would be playing the Cowboys,
Dallas.
right?
That's Dallas week, wild card style.
So what are you thinking about that? Do you think? I know Brad and I talked about it earlier in the show. What do you think the possibility of Eagles versus Cowboys in a playoff environment, and do you think the Eagles pull off the W?
If that's how it lays, yeah, I like the Eagles. I think they're like, look, a lot can change. Like, this is months away, but on August 15th, here, you're telling me the Eagles are hosting the Cowboys wild card weekend. If they don't win that football game, Jalen Hurts needs to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out.
Yep.
Done.
By the way,
I'm
Rob,
done with you. You're dead to me. It's over. Get up in the draft. You have 2 first-round picks. Do they still have 2 first-round picks next year?
Yep.
Get as high up in the draft and get a guy.
Yep.
Rob, Jimmy, big news in MLB, by the way. Walker Buehler is now out for the season.
Wow.
He's getting season-ending elbow surgery.
Well, they got Dustin May coming back, correct?
Dustin May is going to pitch on Saturday. I mean, look, they score a bunch of runs.
Buehler,
it's silly.
Yeah, I understand. He's not Buehler.
I just wanted to, without Buehler, he was supposed to be back early September, but he's now out for the season.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it without him, and they've been doing it without Dustin May. They've been on fire lately, too.
They mashed the baseball. The Dodgers mashed the baseball.
It's the playoffs, though, that you got to wonder with them.
Yeah, I mean, is their pitching staff now better than the Phillies? like we see what the Phillies just did against the Mets. They had a phenomenal series against the Mets, pending yesterday with Wheeler.
I said I got one thing to tell you about Wheeler, okay? Wheeler is the Mets' bitch, and I think that there is no question about that.
He's been pitching well against the Mets.
They beat the hell out of him twice this year. What are you talking
about? Did it on Sunday.
They did it on Sunday.
Yesterday.
But it was just unfortunate.
They beat the crap out of him the last time he pitched in Citi Field.
Yeah, but there's no offense. There's never offense in a big game with Zach Wheeler. Ever. And then what happened with Aaron Nola and Ranger Suarez?
I'm not talking about Ray Nola. I'm talking about Zach Wheeler.
Yeah,
Zach Wheeler cannot get the Mets out. The Mets have beat him up every time he pitches against them. Go look at the stats. This is twice at Citi Field this year that he's gotten his brains beat in
Citi Field. Let's see a home playoff game.
The cream rose to the top. The cream rose to the top over the weekend. I mean, I watched all 3 games this weekend, and the National League is the Mets to lose, in my opinion. They're by far the best team.
And
Dodgers, they put up sexy numbers in the regular season, but we've seen this before. They always find a way to not win, as do the Mets. But this is like a different Mets team. They have a lineup that is 8 deep. They have Bassett, DeGrom, and Scherzer at the top. Good luck with that in the playoffs. And it pains me to say this about the Mets, but
they're going to be really tough to beat.
I want to see what happens in this 4-game series after this Red series at Citizens Bank Park. I want to see what the Phillies do to them. And then we combine the records of the 3-game series up in New York with the 4-game series that's going to happen in Philadelphia. What the record's going to be, that's what's going to determine whether I think the Mets are going to be for real or not. Because the Mets have been for real against a lot of baseball teams this year. If the Phillies can get to them in this 4-game series coming up, after putting on the show that they did this week with our pitching staff, with leaving all those runners on base, with the addition of getting Bryce Harper back in September, I don't know. I've seen the Mets collapse.
What makes you think Bryce Harper can hit the Mets pitching?
Bryce Harper can hit anybody. Yeah, he's a gladiator. He's a warrior.
What's his career average against Scherzer and DeGrom?
probably not good because those guys are unbelievable pitchers. Which is why I made the point that I think the Mets.
If they play a 7-game series against the Mets, they're going to face them twice.
Okay,
each.
but if you put guys on base in front of you, like the Phillies have not done with Bryce Harper over the past few seasons, and Bryson Stott is mastering baseball.
You could also make the argument on Friday night that the Mets left a ton of guys on third base with less than 2 outs.
Okay, but the Phillies did the same exact thing. The amount of runners that the Phillies left on base was disgusting.
The Phillies won with the ghost runner. You know, that was their win.
We've lost with ghost runners.
Okay, but the bottom line is they've owned you this year.
Well, yeah, they have.
They've owned everyone.
What makes you think it's going to be any? They owned you when you had Harper and everybody else.
It's not. The Mets are better.
The Mets are
better than the Phillies.
Pitching.
But it's any given day with baseball. Any given day.
The Mets pitching staff is like what Houston used to have when they had Verlander and everybody else. Oh boy, Aaron Hicks just got a standing ovation for making a catch just now. By the way, remember when I told you how spastic he looked before? He hit into a bases loaded 1-2-3 double play, and they booed him off the field. So Boone is really going to get beat up in the morning news tomorrow because he and Hicks do not belong on this team.
Mr. Wing, they flame out, but like this feels different. Starling Marte is a stud. Pete Alonso's a stud. Nimmo's a stud in the leadoff spot. Francisco Lindor is a stud. Like McNeil is really good.
McNeil's a 300 hitter and he bats ninth.
Then you bring in like these unheralded guys like Vogelbach and Nyquin and just a supplement. By the way, their bullpen's lights out too. Edwin Diaz is going to get some Cy Young votes. So
he's been really good.
I think the Phillies could be right there with everyone except the Mets. Things change. There's a lot of baseball left, and we got 4 at the bank. So what do we have? 3 with the Reds, an off day, and then 4 or no off day?
Off day.
Well, do they have? Is that 4-game series? Is that 4-game series going a weekend series, like going around?
One is a doubleheader. One is a doubleheader.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I think next Monday and Tuesday, the Mets and Yankees play at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, so
well, I swear to God, if Bailey Falter starts one of those games in a doubleheader, I'm going to lose my mind. Lose my mind.
They don't have the notables for or the probables for the doubleheader yet for the Phillies. For the Mets, they have Carrasco in Game 1, and they don't have anybody in Game 2 yet. So
it would be probably
Syndergaard will get one of those, I think.
Well, like you got to hit. Would they score 1 run over the weekend? That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
It's absolutely unacceptable.
No,
I know Schwarber was out and Harper's still out, but like you got to change your philosophy a little bit. You got to play a little small ball. You got to put some pressure on the defense, especially when they have their 3 aces on the mound.
It's Sunday. They had 2nd and 3rd, no outs, and 2 straight strikeouts. That's a killer. That's Sunday, an absolute killer.
Sunday they just look zapped. From first pitch to it didn't look like they ever had a chance to win that baseball.
What's up, Pove? Bill, how we doing? What Bill says, it's not just the Phillies. The Mets have won their last 16 series. Yeah, it's a good baseball team. But just going back, we got 3 against Cincinnati. We're up 4-2 right now. Syndergaard's going into the 6th inning.
Good. Get through the 6th inning, Noah.
Well, he's 5 2/3 right now, 60 pitches. So he has not pitched a lot of pitches tonight, which has been good.
He has thrown a lot of pitches all year, Jimmy.
Yeah. But it just seems like he flames out. Like he just loses it.
You know what? Listen, I think Rob Thompson is smart enough to get it. If he can get him to a point where he can let his bullpen take over the game, I think he's got enough confidence in that bullpen now that he can.
I love him bullpen.
Bullpen's been excellent. The bullpen was a huge weakness at the beginning of the season, and it's borderline elite right now.
You want to talk about the Ghost Runner? How we got the Ghost Runner W? How about David Roberson holding it down with the Ghost Runner in the bottom of the 10th? Now I know that
He's
was
been excellent. What's he got? 3 saves with the Phillies already?
David
Yeah.
Robinson is outstanding.
Yeah, and then you combine that with Sir Anthony. I mean, we got a really good 1-2 punch in that 8th, 9th inning. Whether it's
Alvardo's pitching well. I haven't seen Brogdon in a while, but he's a guy I at least somewhat trust.
You could trust
Brogdon.
Brogdon.
And Knebler out there.
Robertson's one of those guys. He'll drive you nuts, but he'll put the 0 up at the end of the inning.
Coonrod got activated,
though, but he gets out of it every time. That's what he's been doing his whole career.
I love Robertson. I loved him when we signed him. He just unfortunately he got hurt, and he's been good everywhere he went besides those few innings with the Phillies. But Coonrod's coming off.
He had a reason to not be good with the Phillies. He was hurt.
Yeah. Coonrod's coming off the IL, and Knebel's going on the 15-day IL. So you're basically getting a flip-flop right there. And once both of them are healthy.
But your 3 are Alvardo, who Thompson likes. Still makes me nervous, but he's been getting the job done. Sir Anthony and Robertson.
Yeah.
Those 3 guys have been elite. And, like, you look at the big picture in the National League, like, the Padres are reeling. The Padres are shook. The Padres got the Tatis news, and their whole organization is shook.
Yep.
And they haven't really been playing good baseball since they traded for all those guys.
Yeah, their only series win was
now,
against the Nationals.
I said before that the Mets are better than the Phillies, the Braves are better than the Phillies, the Dodgers and the Padres are the Phillies. So now we can take the Padres out of it because the Padres are just shook and reeling, and momentum and chemistry means a lot in baseball. So I'm willing to put the Phillies as that 4th team in the NL now. And the Cardinals are always going to be there because the Cardinals just do all the little things right.
Yeah.
And then so all you have to do to get in the playoffs this year is win more games than the Milwaukee Brewers. If you can't win more games, a team that sold one of the best closers in baseball at the deadline, you can't win more games than the Brewers with a $230 million payroll while they're paying Moneyball out there in Milwaukee, fire everybody. Get everybody, fire everyone.
Well, let me just read you off the schedule, Rob, because you say that, and the schedule just gets very, very favorable for the Phillies. So you got 3 against Cincinnati. You're winning right now 4-2, top of the 7th. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. You're off Thursday, and then you have just from August 19th to August 31st, you have a game every day. But it's 4 games against New York at home, 4 games against Cincinnati at home, 3 games against Pittsburgh at home, and then 3 games at Arizona to round off August.
So they're playing 3 AAA teams in a row.
Yes.
And then pretty well then.
But then once September starts, you have off September 1st, and then you're at San Francisco for 3. You're home against Miami for 3. You're home against Washington for 3. And then you're down in Miami for 3. And then you have a 3-game series against Atlanta, September 16th, 17th, and 18th. So you really only play 3 real teams from now until September 18th. And one of those teams is the San Francisco Giants.
Who stink.
Yes.
They stink.
So you have to go on a significant run from now until September 18th. So.
Well, is there any news about Bryce? I know he's supposed to take batting practice today.
I did not hear anything, but I did not hear anything from it, but I know he did take batting practice today. So I'm hoping that he could go on a rehab assignment by next week, maybe, if he's taking batting practice today. And then he could be back before September.
I wouldn't get too carried away with these rehab games because, we just laid out the schedule. Just put him in that 3-hole as soon as possible. Get your timing down in the minors, a few games, a few at-bats, and get him up here. It's like Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Miami. These are all rehab quality opponents. And I do think this baseball team is going to the playoffs. So you need to get Bryce Harper, you get his timing and get him back rolling again in time for the playoffs. You need Bryce Harper cooking on all cylinders by that, what'd you say it was, mid-September against the Braves?
Yeah, by that series, he should be back.
Because you could if you play well, which they should, and pile up wins, there's a strong possibility that you might be able to host a wild card 3-game series. Where a couple of weeks ago we didn't think that was going to happen at all. So you get the Braves in the bank for 3 in the playoffs. Let's go to battle.
Yeah,
let's do it.
And with the way Ranger Suarez is pitching, I'm fully confident that he could pitch very well in a game 3, where winner takes all the marbles. They got 29 games until that Atlanta series on September 16th. So
how many times do they play? More times do they play Atlanta this year?
Let me tell you,
It's gotta be it.
They got one more series. They have a 4-game series at home, September 22nd to September 25th.
That's it.
So that's kind of the start.
What about the Mets? Now. How many times after this series do they play the Mets? Or are they done with the Mets?
The Mets, after this series, they are done. Yep, after this series, they are done. They also have another 4-game set against. So they got that 4-game series set against Atlanta, September 22nd to the 25th. Then they got 3 at Chicago, and then 4 at Washington, and then they have 3 at Houston to end the season.
That's the dumbest thing in the world.
Houston got everything wrapped up at the end of the season, so they may not even put anybody out there.
You want to talk about something
play an interleague series that late? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yep, that's MLB for you.
Is that maybe a pandemic or not a pandemic? A work stoppage makeup series? I guess not really that late, right? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Having an interleague series that late. You should play your division. They should do it like the NFL. You should play your division. So in the last game.
From now, which is August 15th until September 15th, that last game against Miami, that's 29 games. What would you like their record to be in those 29 games with all those future teams?
20-9.
Yeah.
29, so we'll just round it up to 30 to make math easier. So if you win 20 out of those 30, that's what, 667 ball.
Yep.
That's high. That's really high. You got to leave some margin forever, but you should play 600 baseball in those 20.
You're playing awful teams.
Yeah, but shit happens. We know this.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's baseball. I mean, that's just what happens.
And Arizona's not tragic. San Francisco's not tragic. The Cubs are young in battle.
The Cubs stink. They're awful.
And, we play the Cubs at the end of September.
Yeah, the Cubs are awful. The Marlins are awful. The Nationals are a AAA team for sure.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh. So it's
Cincinnati is pretty close to being awful.
Yeah, the 7 games in between the Mets series. So at the 7 games after the Mets series, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, you got to go 6-1. I would assume 5-2 I'd be okay with, but 6-1 you got to aim for that because all those games are home.
The bottom fall out. If you lose a game, that's fine. It happens. It's baseball. Don't let it spin out of control and go on some stupid losing streak against tomato cans.
Well, yeah, that's why I enjoyed that. So that last game against Miami when they had the bases loaded with no outs in the bottom of the 9th, and they couldn't get a run in when they were down 3-0. I thought for sure we were going to get swept by the Mets and we were going to look atrocious. But we didn't. We got a win and our pitching looked great. So
it didn't look good Sunday.
Well, Sunday was just bad. The amount of guys they left on.
So they're 5 back of Atlanta.
I would be concerned about Wheeler.
No, I don't.
Concerned about Wheeler.
He's had 3 bad starts this year. 3
against the Mets. Yeah, but
two of them were against the Mets. 2 of them were against the Mets.
If they're going to win, if they're going to go anywhere in the playoffs this year, guess what? They're going to have to beat the Mets, and the Mets can definitely hit Zach Wheeler. I don't think that team is afraid of Zach Wheeler at all.
The Mets can hit anybody. The Mets are loaded. The Mets are loaded, Brad. Your measuring stick of the Mets is super unfair.
But that's the team you're going to have to beat if you want to go anywhere in the playoffs.
I know Syndergaard.
They're not as good as the Mets. I've said it all season. I had aspirations that they would be better than the Mets because I hate the Mets, and they always do this. They always make these splash moves, and they fizzle out.
Yeah,
they seem to be for real this year.
I don't think they're going to fizzle out this year. They got different players now than they have in the past.
So you're 6 games. You're 6 games behind Atlanta, or 5 games.
Yep.
With 7 games left against them.
Yes, and a favorable schedule. Now,
and a favorable schedule. So, like, the race for the 4 seed is on, because if you get the 4 seed, Dodgers are going to be the 1 seed. They just have a silly record at this point.
Yeah.
Like, the Padres are second in the NL West. They're close. The Padres, the second place team, are closer to last place than they are the Dodgers. That's how silly the Dodgers have been this year. But, like, if you get in that 4-5 game, because then you play the Dodgers, who are going to be the 1 seed. I think the Phillies have a better chance to beat the Dodgers in a 5 or 7 games, that second series.
I would think 7. The divisional series?
Yeah, I think it's
the
7.
Series has always been 5, hasn't it?
Or
did they change it?
I don't know. They changed everything. They said you couldn't shift anymore, and I see a shift every time I turn on the TV. So I don't know what baseball's doing. But, like, I think they have a better chance to beat the Dodgers in a playoff series than they do the Mets. So now you want to get to that 4 seed, so you get those 3 games at home in the wild card round. Then you play the Dodgers in the second round.
5-game series. The LDS series will be 5 games.
Okay, well, you're giving me a 5-game series with Nola, Wheeler, and Suarez against – I don't even know, because Kershaw's hurt too out there.
Yes, he is. He's on the injured list right now. We don't.
So, like,
I have no idea.
You're gonna have May, Tyler Anderson, and Tony Gonsolin. My apologies if I'm missing somebody, but, like,
Urias.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably May might be the 4th guy or whatever. But
Kershaw might be back by then. I mean, I haven't heard anything about how serious his injury is, or just tweet something. I haven't heard anything about that, so I couldn't really comment.
Bill Middlebrook, Brad, wants to know if the Phillies and the Yankees played in the World Series, who would win?
The Yankees would kill the Phillies. They would kill the Phillies.
You're probably right.
When they full health, when Stanton comes back, because what you're watching, you're not watching the whole Yankee team right now. They're missing a lot of guys.
We say that every year. Idiot going to be back?
They'll have their team back by probably by. Stanton had a full. I just read that Stanton had a full workout today. No problem. He's going to have 2 more. Do a rehab assignment Thursday. Play a couple of games, so he might be back this weekend against the Blue Jays.
Brad, you said it
they're 10
earlier.
up on the Blue Jays, so there's really no need for them to rush anything with Giancarlo Stanton.
No, but they haven't really rushed him anyway. They've been pretty much trying to just make sure they get him healthy. Severino is already on the mound pitching. I mean, I think they just didn't want to. I think they probably pull the old "we don't want you to throw too many innings" trick on him. So he wouldn't.
How's Montez been, Brad?
He pitched pretty well against the Red Sox. Had a tough first game, but he pitched well against the Red Sox.
So, assuming everyone's healthy, who are the Yankees' top 3 pitchers in a playoff series?
Cole, Cortez, and Montes.
It's pretty good.
And Severino's your 4?
Are they better than Houston?
4 would be Severino, yeah.
Are they better than Houston?
I don't know. Houston's pretty good. Houston's pretty good, but we'll see.
I'll tell you one thing.
They haven't played Houston with their full team. That's part of the problem, because Idiot Boone's always resting guys.
I trust Dusty Baker over Aaron Boone any day of the week to make a lineup and manage a bullpen.
I trust you managing the Yankees over Boone. Boone is one of the dumbest, most idiotic managers I've ever seen. The guy has no brains. He almost lost the game on Saturday night because he decides to pitch Chapman in the 7th and 8th inning, and then he throws the guy they got from the Cubs out there in the 9th inning, and he almost blew the game. Chapman, meanwhile, hasn't given up a run in like 2 weeks. I mean, Chapman is all the way back from his injury. He's pitching great like he did early in the season. And Boone the moron keeps not using him in the 9th inning. And letting Clay Holmes pitch, and Clay Holmes can't get anybody out right now. He's in a horrific slump, can't throw strikes, and it's like he ignores it.
I hear you. We've been doing
Analytics
that
do
for a
not
while.
work. Analytics do not take into account when somebody's in a slump. You have to not count on analytics when somebody's in a slump. That's why you can't always go by analytics.
Right. Baseball Talk brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. Specialized Physical Therapy. Check out our Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy LLC. 2 locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He is our doc. Make him yours. That's specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Also, check out Manscaped, a proud sponsor of A2D Radio. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. Get free shipping with that code. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life. Just real quick, going back to the Bryce Harper thing, according to CBS Sports, he took 60 swings today from Todd Zalecki of MLB.com. Rob Thompson says that unlikely to begin a rehab assignment this weekend, but it could be at some point next week. So if he's having a rehab assignment next week, let's say maybe Wednesday, the 24th.
He'll play 2 or 3 games, and then he'll be.
I mean, 60
he
swings. That's if he
a lot of
swung the
swings.
bat 60 times without pain, like get him to the minors, get him on a bus tonight.
Well, they want to see how what his reaction is tomorrow, how he feels tomorrow. I would guess that would be my first inclination. I mean, I know the Yankees put Stanton through a full workout today, and they're going to do it Tuesday and Wednesday because they want to see if he can do it. Which means running the bases and everything, because he has been working out, but he hadn't been running the bases. Today he ran the bases. So they want to see if he wakes up and he's not in pain. And if he's not in pain, then they're going to send him out for a rehab assignment Thursday.
No.
Which means you play 2 games, and then you play 2 games, get your swing back, and then you're back in again.
Now, I'm looking at a target date of would they bring him back to start the road trip. So the road trip starts Monday, August 29th at Arizona. So you have that 3-game set, and then you have the 3-game set against San Francisco. Do you think they're maybe targeting for that?
I would say they're going to target him for San Francisco.
So that would be September 2nd, Friday, September 2nd.
That would be my best guess, I think, because he hasn't swung a bat in a long time.
Yeah.
Look at Thor coming out for the 8th. Look at Thompson. You're going to let him shut the door. Complete game.
That would be awfully nice.
Now, I also am interested.
Rob, I need him on my. I need him to do that with my fantasy.
I can't even believe you roster him still, but
I
it would
roster
be a huge come up. You get a lot of points for a complete game.
Well, the reason I roster him is because who else do you want me to get? The guys that are left
waivers are thin this time of year.
Yeah, there's nobody else out there.
But how about all these teams that made big splashes at the deadline that just aren't doing well at all? Padres. Everyone said the Twins had a great deadline and we're going to do.
Yeah, now they're not even in the playoffs.
The Yankees.
The Yankees are going to be fine.
Boone doesn't trust Chapman anymore. He's done. Okay. Is that why he threw 102 miles an hour on Saturday and shut your asses down for an inning and a third? I'm just asking.
I don't understand why he's not pitching the 9th. I don't get it.
Boone is an idiot. Okay. Yeah. Chapman had a bad stretch. Then because he was pitching with tendonitis in his ankle. He's back now and he's pitching great. So what's the problem?
I mean, I would feel as a Yankee, if I were a Yankee fan, I would feel much more comfortable with Aroldis Chapman in the 9th inning as opposed to Clay Holmes or any of those other guys.
Clay Holmes was pitching great, and then all of a sudden he can't find the strike zone anymore.
He's in a funk because he's Clay Holmes.
Well, he's pitching down to the back of his baseball card. That's
what happens.
Yep.
The Braves have a 4-game set against the Mets, and they also have to play the Cardinals. So their schedule's a little bit tougher, but it does ease up as well. So
Well, they'll lose 3 out of 4 to the Mets. I mean, the Mets just beat them 4 out of 5.
yeah, the Braves are in a 6-game win streak right now, though.
Yeah, but
Since-
that's after they got destroyed by the Mets. Unfortunately,
they didn't lose, or we didn't lose as badly as the Braves did, so that's promising.
yeah. Oh,
I mean, the Phillies, when they play the Braves and the Mets, I believe that's the only two really quality opponents that you read off there. Like, you got
Astros to end because it's ridiculous.
That's the last game, and that's nonsense. That there's an interleague series that late. It's nonsense.
Yeah. But those are the only 3 teams, like you said.
But you got to hit. You can't score 1 run in 3 games when your entire lineup is making $20 million a year.
I mean, you want to count the last game against Miami too. The last game against Miami, they had 0 runs. So besides tonight, their last 4 games, they only had 1 run. I'm sorry, 2 runs.
2 runs.
Yep. 2 runs in 4 games.
They got 2 runs the whole Mets series.
Yes.
That doesn't, like, I'm not panicked and I'm not freaking out about it, but that doesn't sit well at all with me.
1 run was with the ghost runner.
Yeah.
How about Veerling threw that dart? I guess it was Friday night from left field.
That was awesome.
He's a pretty good utility player.
Yeah.
And they got this guy Sosa from the Cardinals who just catches everything, and he's getting hits.
Unbelievable play that he had today. I was kind of confused as to why they got Sosa when they had Camargo, because I thought Camargo was a better hitter, and he's a switch hitter. But I guess that's why I'm sitting on my couch, and Dave Dombrowski's
knows.
General manager.
Oh, there's Syndergaard, 4-3. Let's get him right on out of the game.
Oh, he gave up a run.
I do want to see Noah Syndergaard pitch against the Mets, though. So I think he will be pitching one of those doubleheader games. I just want to see.
It's not going to go good at all.
I mean, what else do we have to lose?
I think the Mets would look forward to going up against him, to be honest with you.
Look, Syndergaard is going to help you get to the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind that he's better than Bailey Falter. Bailey Falter would never go 8 innings in a game, even against the stinky Reds. So Noah Syndergaard is going to help you get to the playoffs. But, I mean, I don't even think he'd be on my playoff roster. I'd have to crunch the numbers. I'd have to crunch the numbers and see what's going on. But
who else is going to be your 5th starter or 4th starter? Like so say that Nola or Wheeler gets rocked. Who's going to come in to be that long reliever? You're trusting Christopher Sanchez?
I mean, I guess there'd be a spot for him to do that. But really only need 4 starters, and Kyle Gibson's way better than Noah Syndergaard in terms of starting baseball games.
Is he way better?
Yes.
I think they're about the same.
No.
But Syndergaard's going to help you win these types of games, pending they hold on to this game.
Well, they didn't win this one yet. I mean, it's 4-3, and it's getting a little dicey here.
But he's going to pitch, like, against these horrible teams, he's going to pitch 6-7 innings, and he's going to give up 3 earned runs. Like, that's what's going to happen.
I agree with you. It was a great upgrade over Bailey Falter. Dave Dombrowski did a good job, and he traded Mickey Moniak, who hit a home run in his first game for the Angels and then broke his hand again. That just sums up Mickey Moniak in 3 sentences right there.
Yeah.
He got hurt.
So you got Noah Syndergaard for free. You got Noah Syndergaard for a stiff first overall draft pick that it just stinks. So you got him for free.
Yeah, that can't not break his hand.
I wonder if it was the same hand.
Same
bone, probably. Like, whatever. I mean, I'm not going to dog Mickey Moniak. I mean, he tried his best here. He's just not good.
Yeah. He had no business being drafted number 1 overall.
And then, everyone wanted to freak out because you gave up Logan O'Hoppe, a prospect who did some good things in the minors, but he's blocked for the next 3-4 years by JT Realmuto.
And he's a catcher.
Unless you move Real Muto to first base and trade Hoskins, and that probably wouldn't happen.
Hoskins is pretty damn good, man.
So then why would you? That's what I'm saying. See,
Yeah.
there's really nowhere. Where are you going to put Real Muto? Third?
Hoskins is I think he's he's definitely the leader of that clubhouse, and you could see on his face that he wants to win. Like you could see how like he gets very frustrated when he's in a slump. Him and Bohm,
I mean,
they
look at his numbers. I mean, he's 260 with what's he up to? 25 homers.
Yeah,
Probably going to get
to
30. Should get to 30.
He's around there.
He's become competent in the field. Bill Middlebrook, I agree with you, Brad, but Boone doesn't. Boone is the biggest Yankees problem.
I agree.
Hoskins is 250, on base percentage 342, 24 homers, 54 RBIs. So
I mean, I guess his RBIs are low because he's been in the 2-hole all year.
Yeah,
which is understandable.
It's just like this game. He's making a big mistake. He's putting Loizaga out there instead of Peralta in the 7th inning, which is stupid. He's warming up Peralta, but Loizaga's out there. Loizaga's been getting bombed. And I'll guarantee you Loizaga gets up a couple of runs now.
So Robertson comes in for relief
in the 8th inning
of Thor in the 8th inning here.
So Sir Anthony's going to come in the 9th.
I guess he's playing matchups, maybe. I don't know. But, I mean, I guess they're interchangeable, so that's not. But Robertson just threw a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. I mean, he struck out Daniel Solano, whoever that is.
And he's been pretty good this year, Rob. I saw his
He's got life on this fastball. This fastball, it's only 93, 94 on the gun, but it looks like it's got some serious zip on it.
He takes a huge stride, so by the time he's letting the ball go, he's like 52 feet from home plate.
I mean, if it looks like it has zip on it when I'm sitting here doing a freaking show, it's got to be looking really fast.
Watch Robertson's stride. Watch how long it is. I mean, it's unbelievably long. So his fastball is coming. It may not be as fast, but it's coming from a lot. He's a lot closer when he lets the ball go, and it makes it very hard to hit. And he's also got that big overhand curveball, which is very tough to hit too. So he's a tough pitcher to hit. He's always been that way. He gets in trouble sometimes because he starts walking guys, but then he strikes out the next guy. So.
Uh-oh, chat's being invaded.
Well, now our show's officially complete because we have the porn spam in the chat. I was getting nervous. I need something to click on after the show. So holler out to the porn bots out there. But anyway, we about 20 minutes left, and then Tommy and DJ and Brodo are coming up around 10.
Yep. So I bet you they'll be talking about the Sixers' $20 million settlement with Ben Simmons.
Wait,
what? They had to pay him?
See, look, because I work today, and I'm usually off on Mondays, so I usually keep up with the news on Monday. So
let me read the story to you guys. So the Sixers and Ben Simmons reach a settlement after the filing of the grievance, and there's a $20 million recoup, whatever that means.
So Ben Simmons got $20 million for not showing up last year?
For each paycheck Simmons received, the Sixers withheld $1.3 million, and that added up to $20 million last season.
So he gets that now, or he doesn't get that?
A whole paycheck for not playing.
So Ben Simmons and the Sixers reached settlement after, so there's a settlement, but the amount is undisclosed. So he got some of that money back. We don't know. Yeah, we don't know how much money it was.
I'll tell you what, I don't know who his lawyer was in these arbitrator or this grievance settlement or whatever they did, but if I'm ever in trouble, get me that guy. For him to get any of that money is an absolute joke. That guy's a loser.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm totally off the Kevin Durant train coming to the Sixers.
Yeah, I'm out.
That guy's in La La Land. And Sean Marks and Steve Nash. Good luck next year, because you got Ben, you got Kyrie, and you got Durant. Good luck with that.
The only place that man has ever won.
That's gonna be a
I wouldn't even even if they didn't ask for Maxey at this point, give us all you got and keep Maxey. Give us Tobias, Matisse, and a bunch of picks. Nope. No thanks. He
Well,
thinks he can just. These guys think they can just hold organizations hostage to get what they want, and that's not how life works.
Yeah, well,
He chose to go to Brooklyn.
Yeah. Brooklyn's
If we want to be on a winner that bad, why would you even leave Golden State? Golden State.
Brooklyn is not going to just dump him, and they're probably not even going to trade him. I can see them saying, "Okay, you want it? Then if you don't play, we won't pay you."
It leaves an ick in my mouth that this is what the NBA has come to, but I am interested to see what happens in Brooklyn, like how their starting five looks, what their roster is going to look like. But yeah, I've been out on this.
You're not going to know that until probably the end of October.
Now, I saw a story online that Kyrie put in his new contract that he doesn't have to play back-to-backs. It could have been like a fake, clickbait fake thing that comes up.
I heard that he wanted to not have to play more than 60 games too, but the Nets wouldn't let him. That's why he has to be traded.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out on the Nets.
So I don't want Durant anywhere near. I don't care that him and Durant or him and Harden are gallivanting around Las Vegas and London or wherever the hell they are, and they're still they're still
they
friends.
hated each other.
They're
I thought they hated each other.
I don't
this time last
understand
year.
the NBA. These guys are still friends. If I were Kevin Durant, I would hate James Harden for what he pulled on that nonsense he pulled to get out of Brooklyn last year.
Yeah,
this immature nonsense.
Yep.
And then he's going to hold up and be like, oh, I want the GM and coach fired, and then I'll stay. Like, fuck off, dude. You should have stayed in Golden State.
Brooklyn's not going to do that.
I don't even know where they go. Like, you're going to trade him to Boston or Philadelphia? No. I don't want him, but I could definitely see idiot Daryl Morey pulling the trigger on a Durant trade.
I could see Boston. Like, honestly, I don't think he goes because I just don't think there's a suitor. But I think maybe Boston has the most likely chance to land him. Like, yeah, that's another thing. Like, we saw what happened with Kawhi. Is there like a team under the radar that is close to winning, but they need like that star like Toronto did? Does he go to Memphis maybe? And then after
that was on the tip of my tongue, Memphis there. And I've always been like a Portland sleeper team guy.
Yeah. But if he goes to Memphis, then you probably have to trade everybody but Ja Morant, right? Like Desmond Bane goes, probably a Desmond Bane package piece with a bunch of picks.
You got to think they'll want Jaren Jackson.
Desmond Bane, and picks.
The problem is whoever trades for him is going to kill their depth.
And we saw how that worked out when the Sixers traded for Harden last year.
Yeah.
You had to do it because Ben had you over a barrel because he's a loser. He's a kitty cat. But, if you had Ben Simmons, a mentally fit Ben Simmons that can push pace and guard every position on the floor with Drummond and Curry on your team last year, you're probably going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
But that's going to be hilarious next year in Brooklyn. Hilarious. What do you do? You're the three biggest knuckleheads in the league are on one team.
How does that even happen? It's hard to believe.
It's Brooklyn. Remember Boston hijacked Brooklyn with the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, they've been a mess ever since.
Yeah.
Whoever got him that money, whoever got Ben Simmons I want them on retainer for me in case I ever get sued. I want that guy and Camille Vasquez on retainer, and I won't ever be touched.
Yeah.
NBA talk. Get Durant out of here. I don't want him.
I'm out. He's never the only place he's ever won was a super team with Golden State. Other than that, he's been the guy and he's lost. That's the bottom line. So I'm out. Okay.
He's an unbelievable player.
Unbelievable talent, but he comes up small. And then he blames everybody else around him.
He did almost lead Brooklyn to the finals when Kyrie and Harden were hurt. Remember his foot was on the line in that game?
Yeah.
Oh, against Milwaukee. Yeah.
But
that
was 2 years ago now.
Middleton was
Game 7.
Yeah, it was game 7.
But Middleton was out that game, so the Bucks had, I think, Drew Holiday and Giannis. And then
No,
other than
I think Middleton was there.
Was Middleton in the game?
Middleton was hurt last year, and that's why the Bucks lost.
All right. Well, yeah, he unbelievable talent, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it besides going with the super team in Golden State.
And Brad, your Knicks, the Kevin Durant in Madison Square Garden, that screams like a Knicks move.
Who are they going to trade for him?
Wow.
I don't know, but if Durant really wants out, I say this all the time.
The Knicks are not going to do that.
The longer the Brooklyn Nets wait to trade Durant, the less they're going to get. I think probably the only exception to that rule in the history of trades is Ben Simmons, because Sean Marks is an idiot and traded for him.
By the way, Knicks Sixers on Christmas Day. They didn't.
I love the Christmas Day. The NFL.
We play on Christmas Eve. We play the Cowboys. Christmas Eve night.
Right.
And then Christmas Day we get Sixers Knicks. So that's going to be pretty cool.
That's a great tradition. What the NBA does on Christmas. They're all really good games, and no one has work. I don't know how your families do things, but Christmas Day is kind of like a chill day.
Yeah.
We kind of do all our stuff Christmas Eve. And
that's really Christmas Day for the NBA. That's really when the season kicks off. I find that to be like a game one until the to start the season.
Is that going to be the noon game? I guess.
I don't think they put out the times yet. I think they just put out the opponents.
Well, the Knicks always used to play at noon on Christmas.
Yeah.
And I feel like the last couple of years that they told them to kick rocks because they suck so bad. But they're competent. Knicks are competent.
Yeah, so the 5 games.
Hey, the Knicks aren't the ones getting killed this summer in New York for a change. It's the Nets.
Yeah.
The Knicks have been able to maintain a low profile for a change.
So it is interesting because the Nets have those 3 guys, and they're not on the Christmas roster. It's going to be Warriors versus the Grizzlies, Mavericks versus the Lakers, Nuggets versus the Suns, Knicks versus the Sixers, and Celtics versus the Bucks.
Those are
awesome good games. That's a pretty solid schedule.
Unless there's some college basketball tournament. I love college basketball. I watch college basketball way more than I watch the NBA. So unless there's some high profile holiday tournament on, I'll be locked into mostly all those games.
Yeah, I'll probably be watching it too because there's no hockey on Christmas. They had hockey shuts down from the 23rd to the 26th. So
yeah. Basketball talk. Basketball talk brought to you by BetUS. BetUS is a leading online sportsbook that has been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet on anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Use that link below for a 125% sign-up bonus.
We had bold predictions on the show sheet.
Yeah, I wanted to get to that. I wanted to get to NFL bold predictions before we wrapped up the show. So we got about 10 minutes to just spew out everything. So I know you said you were trying to make a list for your AFC. I think, and I know we were talking about it a couple weeks ago, and I think I have my final answer with my 7 AFC teams per se, and that'll be my bold prediction for the night. I got the Bills 1 seed. I think the Ravens are going to win the AFC North. Broncos are going to win the West. Titans win the South, and then my 3 playoff wild card teams in the AFC. Chargers 5th seed, Raiders 6th seed, Bengals 7th seed. So I have the Chiefs missing, and that's going to be my bold prediction. I just like every other team's defense in that division besides the Chiefs. I like every other team's run game in that division except for the Chiefs. Now, I know Patrick Mahomes can look like a superhero at times, but losing Tyreek Hill is just huge. And I don't think Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling is going to be able to replace Tyreek.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling stinks.
Exactly.
You mean Butterfingers?
Yep. And their defense is just not going to be that good. Their run game's not going to be that good. And it's going to have to come down to Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. And I don't think
sounds so weird. It sounds so weird to not have probably the best QB head coach combination. We talk about all the time that QB head coach combo can cover up a lot of deficiencies, but that AFC West out there is just a different breed.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like the SEC of the divisions out there. It's crazy.
We talked
Yeah,
about
that is a tough division.
the X factor in football is defense and run game. And the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers have a way better offense or a way better defense and a more productive run game.
They do.
So I think the Chiefs miss the playoffs. That's going to be my NFL bowl prediction for the week.
So you don't have Miami in. I like Miami a lot.
I just don't see Miami making it over the Bengals, Raiders, or Chargers. I like the Bengals. They didn't lose anybody.
They now have Hill.
Yeah, the Dolphins do have Hill. They do have a offensive minded coach now. But are they going to outpace the Chargers, Raiders, or Bengals, or Ravens, or Broncos?
They might, because you know what, they get to play the Jets twice. They play the Patriots twice, and the Patriots are not going to be as good this year as they were last year.
I hear you. And I think my biggest surprise is going to be the Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson has a phenomenal year during his contract year or whatever. His contract year.
Lamar didn't pay him yet.
Apparently, he gave them a deadline by week 1. He wants to get paid. I don't know what that means. If he's like threatening not to play, I don't know if that's
going to not play. Yeah, that would decrease his value.
Well, yeah, and apparently he like goes for himself. He's his own agent. He negotiates all of his things. So I don't know, but I think he's going to have a phenomenal year this year. And their defense is always good. Their offensive line is great. Dobbins is going to be healthy.
They're healthy now, and I think that was the biggest problem with the Ravens last year. I would agree with you.
Yeah. So,
we're pretty much on the same page, Jimmy, except for Miami. I like Miami over San Diego.
Really?
I think Tyreek Hill is going to make a huge difference.
Okay.
I mean, he's the one guy. I mean, he's the one guy. He's the kryptonite on the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills couldn't stop him either.
Yeah, I look at Justin Herbert and I can't see how he misses the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Chargers are scary on paper.
They are, but the Chargers just find different ways to lose football games.
Well, I think their coach is an idiot.
There's always something wrong with the Chargers. And you can never put your finger on it, but there always seems to be something that happens that screws up the Chargers every year. Whether it's an injury, whether it's a stupid play, whether it's a ridiculous fumble, a bad special teams play, it always seems to happen to them.
So I kind of touched on I like Lamar for MVP. That's the one I wrote down. Just that dual threat, and he looks, on what I've seen of him on the NFL Network, he looks buff. Like, it looks like he put on muscle,
bigger,
which should help him. Like, maybe he sacrifices a little bit of that burst in order to stay healthy. But I like that. I think he's going off at like 25-1, depending on where you look for MVP. I think that's a great bet. And I touched on it earlier. I like the Vikings in the NFC North, and I like the Niners in the West.
Okay.
And I think the Browns are going to have the first pick in the draft. Well, Deshaun Watson, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't with him. Because if he comes out and kills it, you're a bunch of scumbags because you sold your soul to have a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He just sounds like a creep of a human being. And then, God forbid, if he comes back from his suspension, I still think is at 6 games. I don't think they've lengthened it or anything like that. If he comes back and plays bad, you're like, what are you doing? You gave this creep all this guaranteed money, and now you're stuck with him. So I think the Browns are going to absolutely stink this year. And by the way, the Jets, they can go out and lose every game too. Did you see that hit on Jalen Hurts?
Yep.
The one out of bounds?
Like, what is that in a preseason game?
I do like everybody having his back, though. Sirianni having his back.
That's not Jalen Hurts' problem. Jalen Hurts is the old right shoulder is Jalen Hurts' problem. He's a great leader. The guys like him. He's athletic.
Yeah.
He's a likable. Like, if I ever have a daughter one day, I want her to bring home a guy like Jalen Hurts
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Hey, Dad, met this guy named Jalen. We're gonna get married." Cool, great.
Mr.
But-
Intangible.
It'll be a lot cooler after he signs a new contract.
But you know, if you're telling me my daughter's bringing this guy, hey, we got this guy Jalen, and we need him to play really, really good to beat the Rams or the Packers in Wild Card Weekend.
Or what about if you tell him, well,
No.
we got I met this guy Deshaun.
No, but like Deshaun's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. He's more talented.
Yeah, that's true.
He's just a creep.
Yeah.
Other one. It sounds like Damian Harris is going to get traded out of New England before the season starts.
Oh my God, I would sign me up for Damian Harris. Great 1-2 punch with Miles. Damian Harris.
I wasn't going there, but Ramondre Stevenson. I think he's a really talented back.
James
I think
White
he might
retired,
have
by the way.
a big year.
If you didn't hear that.
But I think the Patriots might stink too. Patriots went in a time machine.
I think they'll
They
be
went in a
running the
time
mill.
machine over the offseason. They lost their offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels. He's going to go coach the Raiders, and they just didn't replace him.
Yeah, I don't know what Belichick's
They
doing
don't
there.
have an offensive coordinator. Bill Belichick's going to call plays this year. It looks like offensive play calling is going to be his responsibility for the first time, I think, probably ever. You got Mac Jones, a quarterback who can't move at all. Devontae Parker in a league of weapons where you need to have weapons to score points. Your best receiver is Devontae Parker. They lost their best corner in J.C. Jackson. He's on that fantasy squad over there in Los Angeles.
Yeah, Chargers. They also got Khalil Mack, too. That's another reason why I just don't see the Chargers failing. You know what I mean? So, I'm very...
Khalil Mack is getting a little long in the tooth, though.
Yeah, but I read that Staley was like his coach in Chicago or Oakland before, and they really liked each other, and he had his best years with him as
well, maybe that'll help.
Anyway, you got Joey Bosa, Mack. Derwin James is never healthy, but he's a freak. J.C. Jackson, Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Herbert. All these guys.
They're loaded.
Decent offensive line. Their head coach is going to be their big question mark.
And I think Buffalo's on a mission this year. It's not really bold, but like anytime you're talking about a team that's that good and that poised, it's a little bold to say that I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I know they're the favorites, and it's not that bold. But
where do you guys think? Just before we head off, where do you guys think OBJ is going? Because he's still a free agent. He'll probably be out until November, maybe.
He'll sign with the Rams late. In the season.
I think he's going to go back to the Rams. I think he lives out there. He likes it out there. He was doing really, really well for them. He was probably on his way to being Super Bowl MVP. That no one on the Bengals could stop that guy in that game.
Yeah.
Claims he slipped on the paint from one of the little logos there, off his knee. So I fully expect him to go back to the Rams.
Yeah, that's where he's going.
And so
I think Julio. If you're looking at comeback player of the year, I'm looking right at Julio Jones. I'm looking right at Julio Jones for that.
I was
think
just
he
about
has
to
a
go
good
there.
year. I mean, it's tough to say he's going to have a big year because he is older and injury prone, but
they have a lot of guys though. They do have a lot. I mean, they got
I don't
Mike
trust
Evans.
Godwin off that ACL.
Yeah,
he's a good player, but
they got
I feel
Russell
like that
Gage.
happened kind of late.
They got Russell Gage too, and Russell Gage had a phenomenal year last year in Atlanta, where it was pretty hard to get anything done in Atlanta. But they got Russell Gage.
You read stuff and who knows what's true and what's not. But I read that Brady couldn't stand Russell Gage in minicamps. He just couldn't. He couldn't. I guess he wasn't grasping the offense, or he was dropping passes. Who knows? But
yeah,
I think if Russ, if
he's dropping passes, Brady won't throw him the ball.
I think that the reason that Julio Jones was signed was Brady went in and said, "Yo, this guy Russell Gage, you got to be our third receiver. I don't like him. Get somebody else. Go get Gronk on the horn, or get somebody else." So I think Julio Jones is going to play a role in that offense, and I think he's going to do well.
Just real quick, going back to OBJ, and then we could start signing off, unless we have anything else. But I think OBJ is going to go to Green Bay. I think they're going to be a dark horse because I feel like the Rams, if they were going to sign him, they would have already signed him by now.
No, because they can't afford it. If they afford to add him to their
So how are they going to do it in November?
Because whatever they pay him per game, they can fit in under the cap at that point.
Yeah, I guess you're right, but I just look at Green Bay and I look at Aaron Rodgers and I look at his receiving core right now, which is just.
I mean, it's not a bad.
Trash cans.
It's not a bad thought. I think that Josh Allen's going to be the MVP. I think that this is going to be Buffalo's year. They've never won a Super Bowl. I think this is the year they finally do it.
Do you think they do it against Tom Brady? Do you think Buffalo finally gets over Tom Brady?
That's what that's. If I had to pick right now, yeah, I'd pick the Bills over the Bucs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I think they made a couple of moves to strengthen their defense. They don't have to worry about Kansas City anymore. I think the toughest team they're going to have to face in their division is Miami, and Miami is going to have a good record. I think Miami is going to end up in the wild card. I love the Ravens. I think the Bengals do make it. I like Oakland. I like the Chargers, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I think somehow Denver doesn't make it, and I also think that Kansas City's not going to make it either. I think that trade of Hill was one of the dumbest trades I've ever heard. That I've ever seen.
Now I kind of want it. Now you both everyone's off Kansas City, huh?
They don't have a defense.
They don't have a defense.
They don't have a defense, and they lost Tyreek Hill.
I hear you.
The best
if
game
they lose
changer.
They lose Tyreek Hill. Now they're going to double. They're going to double and triple team Kelsey, and take him out of the game. And he's so crazy. If he starts getting frustrated, God only knows what he's going to do. He'll start committing stupid penalties.
So this is like the ultimate. The Chiefs this year, like the ultimate test sample as to how much a head coach quarterback combination matters. Because I agree with everything you said about the Chiefs roster and their supporting cast. They shouldn't make the playoffs in a loaded AFC. But they do have Andy Reid, and they do have Patrick Mahomes.
But you know why it's happening? It's because of these massive contracts that these quarterbacks are getting. And we knew it wasn't going to hurt them when they first signed it, but we're starting to get into the territory where they're paying this guy, $55 million a year?
Whatever it is they're paying them, it's
hurting mightily.
It's worth it, and the same thing goes for Rodgers. But you're not going to be able to pay a wide receiver $35 million too. Yep, that's the bottom line.
Especially since you're paying a tight end top-notch money as well.
Exactly. So there's just so much money to go around.
Now, if he and Andy Reid just have an unbelievable year and they just have all of us eat crow, and then it's Chiefs first.
Congratulations! Listen, congratulations to Andy Reid. I mean, Andy Reid's a great coach. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. He'll figure out a way that team will be competitive and score a lot of points, but they still give up too many points. I just don't see it. Not in that division. If you put them in the NFC East, maybe. But not in the AFC West, not in the division, or if they were in the NFC West, either one of those divisions, there's no way.
Yeah,
there's no way. By the way, I do like the Titans, the Colts. I don't see the Colts being much of a factor.
Yeah, I'm out on Matt Ryan. That statue.
Yeah, he's too old. He can't move anymore.
I think Jaguars are.
They could be
an improved team. And I think Doug's going to make a big difference there in that locker room because they probably had the worst head coach in terms of locker room cohesiveness last year in Urban Meyer. You didn't even know who Aaron Donald was. So Doug Peterson is and they have a franchise quarterback.
Well, we don't know that yet.
I do.
He hasn't proven that yet. He probably is. It may take him another year, though, Rob, to really get on board.
So I was just thumbing through my phone, and I saw that Howie Legend traded J.J. Arcega-Whiteside today.
Yep. Traded him for a second or another. No, they traded him for a 4th-round pick in the 2019 draft, defensive back. He's had some not significant playing time, but he's played. He's played in the NFL.
Howie got a defensive back who's played in the NFL and a 4th-round draft pick, albeit a few years down the road, for J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
Yes.
No, they didn't have to cut him, so that they're ahead already.
Yeah, the guy.
That might be the best trade in the history of trades.
Yeah. He has over 100 tackles, I think. He has a couple forced fumbles. He has an interception, a couple pass breakups. So he's played in this league. So like.
So now,
JJ Arcega-Whiteside has not played in this league.
Yeah. So now we've been bitching and moaning about Metcalf over Whiteside. Now they're both on the same team.
Yeah, playing together with a horrible quarterback. So
Twin Towers. I thought Nick Sirianni was going to mold him into like a great tight end.
Yeah,
but that was the plan for JJ.
I had not heard about him all camp. The only thing I heard,
he's gone.
The only thing I heard about JJ was he was converting to a tight end, and that was in like the springtime, and that was the last I heard of him until today. So,
by the way, little prediction off just off the top of my head. Jalen Reagor will be a New York Jet by the time
good
the season starts.
I'll drive him there myself.
I can see
loser player on a loser franchise.
I could see the Eagles cutting him, and I could see Joe Douglas picking him up.
And JJ Arcega-Whiteside, I'm still mind blown that like we got that for JJ Arcega-Whiteside. JJ Arcega-Whiteside might be the worst 2nd-round pick in the history of 2nd-round picks. Andy Reid picked a linebacker in the 2nd round in the early 2000s. His name was Quentin Caver. I think he went to Arkansas. He came in with a lot of hype, and he couldn't do anything at all. So it's either Quentin Caver or JJ Arcega-Whiteside is the worst 2nd-round pick in the history of 2nd-round picks. And you got a future 4 and a DB that actually has stats.
No,
JJ Arcega-Whiteside has no stats.
Rob, my bad. He was a 4th-round pick. That's what he was in the 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's basically a 4th.
We traded them someone we were going to cut, and they traded us someone they were going to cut.
Yeah, but the guy seems like he has like some NFL credibility with the stats
if he can contribute at all.
Yeah,
that's a plus.
Yeah.
Is he a safety? Who are Eagles safeties right now?
He's a safety.
Who ran with the ones?
I think I don't know who ran with the ones. I was on vacation during the preseason game, so I didn't really get to look at the defense side of the ball. I saw the Kaiser White interception, and then I obviously saw the first drive of the offense. But I think it's going to be a Marcus Epps piece as free safety and a Jaquiski Tart as strong safety. I think Kayvon Wallace is gone, and I think that Anthony Harris is going to be your depth safety. He's going to be playing that rotation piece like what was Graham, Corey Graham, TJ Graham, whatever's Graham, the safety during our Super Bowl run.
I don't remember his first name either.
Yeah. So I think they're in love with Marcus Epps, and Marcus Epps has made plays for us. I don't think he's going to move the needle. I think he's going to be the safety's going to be weak spot on this roster, but I like a Jaquiski Tart and I like a Marcus Epps. So, yep.
All right, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, warming up for Tom Arnone, Ryan Brodo, and DJ Eastwood. Make sure you check them out 10 p.m. tonight on all of our platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, the podcasts, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe to all of our channels. Stay around for a while. Sports Hounds was brought to you by Araya Public Adjusting. If you have damage to your home or property, we may be able to help. Don't fight your homeowner's insurance alone. Contact Araya Public Adjusting at 813-564-3364. Thank you to everybody who chimed in the chat. Brad Ryer, Rob Brinkman. I'm Jimmy Rodweller. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you guys next week.